Hi, I'm Evan Sinclair.
And I'm Ryan Sinclair.
And we just got back from an early screening of The Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah, The Suicide
Yes,
Squad.
not Suicide Squad, The
Yeah.
Suicide
And
Squad.
just to get this out of the way, we're not going to be talking about any spoilers in this video. We're going to keep it nice and safe for you so you can still enjoy the movie.
Yep, we're definitely going to talk about what we liked and didn't like about it. But yeah, we're going to avoid all story beats and
Try to keep
all
it
that.
as general as possible. We're not going to get into specifics.
Getting right into it, I'd just like to talk about for a moment how I've been a James Gunn fan for a while. This is James Gunn is helming this. He's from Guardians. He's the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, amongst other things, like Slither back there. And I ever since I was a kid and saw the ad campaign for Slither online and on TV, and it scared the ever living shit out of me.
Yeah, that is one freaky movie.
Yeah, which is funny because now that we're older, it's like you can tell it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But like when I was a kid,
those
little worm things freaked me out.
I mean, justifiably, that scene with the bathtub. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been following his career for quite a while, and I'm just gonna say right out the bat that I think his whole career has been leading up to this moment.
Really?
Yeah, I think that
That's big.
I think that this mixes everything that he has done in the past and of recent to a very nice package.
Yeah,
I was very excited about that.
I definitely see what you mean about the culmination of a lot of different things that he's already, been dipping his toes into with the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Trauma and all these, mixing those worlds in a way that's pretty succinct and satisfying.
Yeah, and I loved this movie right off the bat. I mean, I loved this movie. I don't think I've had more fun watching a superhero movie or supervillain movie, I guess, in this sense, but like ever. Like I was just, I loved this. I loved this movie so much.
I'm not quite ready to put it on a pedestal that much. I definitely really enjoyed it. I definitely will agree it's one of the better, superhero themed movies that I've seen. It definitely hits all those, check boxes. It's very entertaining. It's very comedic. It's, the action is great. But I personally felt like I wanted a little bit more from the story.
See, I didn't feel that way at all. I kind of feel like the story was exactly what it needed to be. It was a mission, and that mission had very big situation and consequences if they failed it, which I think reveal themselves throughout the movie how consequential those that situation is and that mission is. But yeah, it's interesting that you felt that way because I didn't feel that at all. And honestly, I felt like this movie did such a great job at just the pacing of it all.
It was definitely well paced. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the pacing. I really just felt like, to me, the story was a bigger vehicle for the characters to do their own thing than to actually tell a story that was unique and interesting. Not to say that it was bad per se, but it didn't really connect with me in terms of what it actually was bringing to the table, in terms of a general arc of what the mission was, and how it all culminates and everything. That being said, like I said, it's a great vehicle to display the cast of characters, which were really great in this movie.
They were like perfect. They were everyone was perfectly cast. First of all,
I agree with that.
He nailed it. It was
the casting
great.
Is definitely top notch.
And I thought it was like they worked together effortlessly. Like their dynamic, like all of the Suicide Squad, their whole dynamic just worked together so well. And I think that was really impressive. And I think you can definitely tell that he brought his chops from Guardians of the Galaxy, bringing an ensemble together to this as well. And honestly, I think in a way, I'm not going to say better, actually. I'm going to say different, but definitely edgier, and which I think worked very well to let James Gunn let his kind of more crazier side shine through with this one.
Yeah, I think I think that the characters melded well together. The arcs that they all had and everything definitely felt satisfying, and I enjoyed seeing them interact with each other. The different camaraderies being born and rivalries being tested and everything. It definitely was nice, but I would be lying if I said that I thought it was perfect. I really,
the movie or their dynamic.
Well, I mean, I guess I could say both. To me,
interesting, because I thought that their whole dynamic between each other was perfect. I think that they nailed it. I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie, of course, but I really had no issue with any of those characters and how they work
And
together.
I
I
mean,
think they did a fantastic job, and I just
the more I think about it, the more I think it's nitpicking. Because I guess this movie is a way, to me it felt way more like a comedy than an action movie. It
see.
instead,
I thought
like,
they balanced that so well.
I was gonna say, if you had to call it either an action comedy or a comedy with action, I would probably say it's a comedy with action. There is not a moment where there is not something funny happening in this movie. Like, I mean, that's not true. I mean, I know that
Dude, I think they split it down the middle really well. I've got to completely disagree with you on that one. And honestly,
I mean,
like,
I'm not dissing the action.
oh no, I know that you're not. I'm just saying that I feel like this gave me everything I would have wanted
Mm.
from an action comedy.
It was so filled to the brim with comic relief and just a comedic atmosphere that it allowed for what would normally be considered like you might insult it as being like a Marvel tier quip. It felt much more natural in that environment because that was just the atmosphere being fostered, and it was just, while I was able to enjoy seeing stuff like that find a home in this movie, something about it still definitely was a little off-putting to me. Like
The comedy
not,
or the
I
action?
liked the comedy, but I feel like they could have pulled it back ever so slightly. Like, I think that King Shark, right?
Yeah.
I think that King Shark was maybe a little heavy-handed on just dumb shit. Personally, I loved his I loved the
He was
character.
such
It's
a
a lot of
good
fun.
character.
It's a lot of fun, but if I was in charge, I might have pulled it back just a little bit, and just, I don't know,
Oh
in small
man,
ways. In small ways.
I
I don't
don't
want to
know
say
about
that they
that.
handled it badly, because it was definitely really funny, and it was definitely really interesting. Like, a lot of the choreography was great. Like, there were a lot of moments where, like, they choreographed things really well for the action, and like they had really interesting shots for a few of the action scenes. But I still, something about the mesh didn't feel completely congealed, while it was still a very enjoyable and cohesive experience.
Dude, that's crazy to me because I really thought that like they just nailed that balance. But I was gonna say that I do have a complaint, which is I felt that like every time there was a sex joke, I there was a bit of a groan from me. Like I feel like he didn't quite mesh those ones in very well. I know that they're like a ragtag group of criminals and they're just crude, but I don't know. A few of them, it just actually came down to like felt like poor writing to me.
Mm.
But it was very few and far in between. Another criticism that I had of this movie was that I feel like James Gunn's playlist of songs that he picked for it, I felt like he was trying to recreate that magic with Guardians of the Galaxy, where it felt a lot more natural in there and just
Yeah.
hard hitting because of Star-Lord's cassette tape player.
Yeah, there was an actual, story reason to be connected to those songs.
Yeah, exactly. And even the actual story aside with Star-Lord, the song choices in this never felt as significant as Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt like he was trying to recreate that magic and it didn't work out every time. In fact, to the point where I thought that the new score, like the score for this movie, every time they weren't utilizing it in scenes, I was disappointed because when the score was coming in, I actually thought it was really well made. And I don't know.
I definitely sensed that there was like, a lot of suddenly, oh, this rock chorus is happening, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you know this one? You know this one, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, there was
and that's
I don't want to get too much into the audience because I have my own things to say about that, but there was a guy like singing along to some of the songs. Like, that's obnoxious. Don't do that in the theater. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. We won't talk about that.
But yeah, I had a problem with some of the song choices. It just felt like he was trying to it just felt very forced to me, and it didn't feel like it worked like it did in Guardians of the Galaxy. And did you have a favorite character?
I don't know. That's tough because they're all very likable, Like, I think Ratcatcher 2
She was,
Is that, did I get the name
yeah,
right?
yeah, she was such
Yeah.
a highlight
Yeah,
of this.
Ratcatcher 2 was the sort of the glue for me. Like she was the character that was not strictly, just going to be funny. And there was a lot more feels involved, and she was actually, reaching out to King Shark and being nice and being like, "We're friends, right?" And it kind of was like, "Oh, this isn't just a funny movie, it's about these people learning to open up and sort of be nice with each other for this mission, even though they all kind of suck in their own individual ways." And something that I guess that irked me as well um, was that R rating. I feel like, similar to what I was saying about the characters doing stuff that did not necessarily directly impact the story, I feel like a lot of the gore and the blood and violence sometimes felt like it was just something happening to the enemy soldiers that are nameless and don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. When I think of an R-rated movie that is like, making a deal out of that, it's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be this Suicide, they're making it R, they're going to do some crazy stuff. I want to see things happen that matter in narratively, instead of just, oh, he ripped that guy apart, isn't that crazy? You wouldn't see that in a Superman movie, right? Like, I would want to actually like feel that impact of crazy, unfettered stuff happening while it actually has a bigger impact on the story, instead of just, it's time for another meat puppet to be, chomped into or shot. And, like, more bad stuff happening to important people would have been necessary for me to really feel like this deserved to be brought to the R rating. I felt like you could have made this a PG-13 just by making,
What?
no, well, no. I was gonna say, just by toning down the language and by just making less gore out of the random people being killed.
No. What? No. Are you kidding me? There's just like so much violence, and that was like that sets a whole atmosphere for the film, though. Like that would have to, you'd have to take out like so many jokes. You'd have to take out
Okay, that's
so
fair. A lot of the
many
crude jokes definitely would have made it
you'd
R
have to
too.
take out so many just set pieces with all of them. I don't know, man. I feel like that R was justified. And
Well, I'm not saying that it wasn't justified. They could have done a lot more interesting stuff with it than just another boring soldier got eaten or blown to bits. If we're going to be putting gore into a movie like this, it should be in a way that is more impactful to the story. That's my main point, I guess.
I guess, but I don't know. I well,
But it's to me, I just feel like they put the messed up stuff in the wrong places.
it's hard to talk about this without,
Yeah, because it is definitely hard to not spoil
because
stuff at this
everything that
point.
I want to discuss that on,
This was my plan.
you're
You
kind of
can't refute me without ruining the audience's experience.
honestly, yeah, I don't know, man. I am feeling pretty I was looking at a list of other superhero movies just to remind myself, and I honestly think that this might be my favorite one. The only other ones I could think of that came close was Logan and Logan. Yeah, Logan. I was, yeah, I don't know. I think that they really did something cool with this movie, and I'm like for a movie that's as chaotic as it is, to be so well paced and to have such a great cast of characters all working together really well with great humor, and on top of that, uh somehow at like many moments make me like audibly go like, oh, like just feel for them. And like I was very damn impressed at what they
Mhm.
pulled off here, and for that I'm like, I'm giving this a 9, man. I'm giving this a 9. And yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's a no for me. I wouldn't give it a 9. I can sympathize with why you'd say that because, I get why you liked this movie, but there's still, I feel like there was just too much that pulled me away from being like, that was, living up to the absolute potential that we could have gotten with a James Gunn R-rated Suicide Squad movie. And I mean, all of my criticisms aside, I definitely did really enjoy this movie. It was a lot of fun. Uh, but if I had to give it a score, I think I would be closer to the 7 range than the 9 range. I think that it was really fun, but I feel like there was some potential that could have really thrown it into the realm of being like a new level for this type of movie, and it didn't quite hit it for me.
Well, to each their own, but I gotta disagree.
Sevens is still a decent score.
It's a good score, but
I definitely still really liked this movie. It was a lot of fun.
I thought that it did everything so well, like I said, with the pacing and the character dynamic and just the fun violence and just the performances and just I really thought this was a damn good package of a fun superhero movie.
Yeah, all those things are great. I just wanted a little bit more from the story, and I feel like sometimes they missed some opportunities to really push the characters in ways that would accentuate the story and to really, get more out of that R rating. But
yeah, I don't know. I think that the clear-cut mission and the just letting the characters be the characters in that mission really that worked for me. But I can see where that could affect someone's viewing of this. But yeah, we're very lucky to have gotten to see it as early as we did, and I can't wait to watch this again. Honestly, I'm probably gonna go see it again in theaters when it comes back out.
This is definitely one to pick up.
I definitely want to own this one. I can see myself pulling this one out a few times.
It's easily a great party movie.
Absolutely.
Like if you don't know what to do, you have a bunch of people over. Let's put on this crazy fucked up superhero movie that's just a nice ride.
I agree, man. All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us, everybody. We will see you on the next video.
All righty. Have a good one, everybody.